Was that annoying? Was that annoying, guys? Welcome everybody to Awakening Soul Force Live. I'm your host, Jefe Barbarguesa, and tonight we've got our Awakening Wednesday Intuition Challenge coming up for you all. So I'm really excited to do tonight's little meditation, see what kind of downloads come through, help you work on tapping into your intuitive senses. It's always interesting. People have been really making leaps in their intuitive connection here. I want to give a big shout out to Oksana, one of our Soul Force members here. Oksana actually facilitated a reading for me not that long ago. She reached out, and I think it was one of the reading nights she was talking about, or maybe it was one of the Wednesday nights she was discussing stuff that was coming through, and we kind of got into a back and forth about having her practice and doing her readings. So I actually allowed Oksana to read for me, and she was fantastic. So the funny backstory to Oksana's story is that she said it was the shamanic journeying Monday night meditation that we had done together that totally opened things wide open for her. And she started getting lots of information. So it's really cool to hear feedback like that. It was really fun to get a reading from Oksana, who's all the way in Australia now, but who's definitely been coming on and doing the work with us here. And man, there's a lot of really great information coming through. So it's cool to see her stepping into her power. So if Oksana's watching or watches later, huge shout out to you. Big kudos, because the Awakening Wednesday challenges have been, seem to be paying off for you, which is really great. Hi, Renee. Welcome. Good to see you on here. Hola, hola. I don't know if you guys caught at the top, I was doing a very annoying sip of my tea. It's really hot. It's really, really hot. I decided I'm not going to ever come on without a beverage anymore, because usually by the end of talking for a half hour, 45 minutes, my voice is totally shot. Hi, Mary. Welcome. Good evening to you as well. Yeah, it is really cool. It was really cool to get some great feedback. You know, there's a lot of really wonderful spirits and souls in this group, and it's so fun to hear the evolution that is taking place and the growth that is happening. You know, we've been going live here since, well, consistently since April on this kind of a schedule where I do Monday through Thursday. But, you know, doing some lives on here for well over a year and a half, but a lot of great people, and it's so cool. Sherry, thanks for being here tonight. I'm excited to test your intuitive abilities. So for those of you who have never tuned in before on an Awakening Wednesday challenge night, what we do is we just get quiet together, we meditate, and we open up. And we see if there's any information that will come through related to the mystery company. I won't say the quote mystery company, but that doesn't make sense because it's just a mystery company. So in this envelope, or I should say behind this envelope, I have named a company that we are going to kind of try to tap into and see if we can get intuitive information about this company, the business that it does, and whatever relevant information might come through. And we're going to do it together as a group. So I'll walk you through a little guided meditation. We'll do that together. You'll write down, if you want to, anything that comes through, and then we'll see what pops up that is able to be validated. The thing that I like to mention before we dive into that is that, remember, we're not trying to, quote, get the answer. We're not trying to arrive at the destination. We really want to take the journey to a potential destination. We know that there's a mystery company in here that we're going to focus on and meditate on. And what we want to work on when it comes to our intuitive sensibilities, we want to work on symbols, feelings, what arises, these subtle movements of energy and emotion or feeling, of images, of sounds, thoughts, things that are inspired in that process of seeking information. Because really this journey of using our intuitive senses is like learning a new language, and it very much is like putting puzzle pieces together. So when it comes to this work, there we go, it said it was waiting for live video. I don't know what's going on with the platform. When it comes to doing this work, we're not so worried about the destination. We're really focused on learning how to speak the language of intuition. So we're going to talk about whatever things pop up for you. We're going to look for parallels, things, our way into breaking down how things connect to the relevant information that can point us to what this company is and what this company does. So that's kind of the journey we're taking tonight. All right? Let me know if you have any questions, because I know there's a couple of folks in here that I think have not been live on an Awakening Wednesday night before. So I'm really glad to have you. Before we dive into that, I want to share a little good news as I open up as I do a real dramatic flick there. Just a little added effect. Plays well on camera, I guess. From the Good News Network, sharing some good news for the day. To eliminate plastic, college grad designs ramen packaging that dissolves in hot water. This is pretty cool. Inspired by countless nights spent studying in school, an eco-conscious college grad has come up with an ingenious replacement for the single-use plastics used to package instant ramen noodles. Holly Grounds, who studied product design at Ravensbourne University, London, is responsible for developing an edible, spiced packaging film for instant noodles. Grounds says she felt compelled to develop her dissolvable noodle packaging after realizing the long-lasting environmental consequences of such a quick and easy meal. The product can be cooked and eaten under 10 minutes, but yet the packaging can take 8 decades to decompose, 8 decades, 80 years for that stuff to decompose. So that's quite the trade-off. After countless hours of trial and error testing, Grounds managed to simultaneously do away with both the plastic noodle sleeves and the single-use spike packets by incorporating the seasoning into a biofilm packaging. Grounds says she can produce the film simply by mixing potato starch, glycerin, and water with the seasonings and pouring the concoction into a mold so that it can set in for 24 hours. Once solidified, she uses the film to wrap the noodles into a donut shape for even heating on the stovetop. For hygiene purposes, Grounds then bundles the meal into a paper wrapper. Pretty cool. So it looks like this product was being featured at the D-Zine Circular Economy themed virtual design festival in June, and she hopes that she can use the media attention that's been garnered from this event to help implement the biofilm packaging into other food packaging schemes as well. So that's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool to see a student, going to town on this and finding solutions. Look, it's a 10-minute meal that takes 8 decades to compose the plastic packaging. I mean, I thought ramen noodles, I'm surprised they decompose in our bodies at all. I've always wondered what that stuff was made of. So it's really good. I still am not sure about eating ramen noodles. I ate plenty as a freshman in college. Playing football, ramen noodles was a common meal in our household. Not gonna lie, 4 guys playing football, not a lot of time, ramen noodles, lots of pasta, and eventually we got our stuff together. We started cooking better meals, but it was a rough road. So very cool. Good for the environment. Still not sure if ramen noodles are good for our body, but it's definitely better for the environment. Hi, Rebecca. Renee says, sounds like we could benefit from this right now. I agree. It's just so cool. There's so many interesting stories that come out. I highly recommend you check out the Good News Network. It'll spoil my good news segment because you'll get to see all the articles that I like to choose from ahead of time. But if you are looking for a different stream of information, check out the goodnewsnetwork.org. And it's a really, really cool website. Also, if you're on Instagram, Tank's Good News. I really like Tank's Good News. Tank Sinatra is an online sort of influencer / comedian, and he does a lot of really cool stories on there as well. I highly recommend following that account because there are a lot of really great stories that pop up, and we need a balance, right? We need to know what's going on in the world. There's things that are very serious that we should be aware of, but then there's also the very human and light and joyous and progressive and innovative side of things that is constantly moving. We're constantly evolving, and it's really nice to be plugged into that so we don't feel like the world is crumbling down on us and we're getting a tower card, as many people pulled yesterday. In reverse though, which is very good. Which is a little bit of a lighter load than a full tower card. Hi Angie, welcome. Rebecca, Renee, Maria, Sherry, exciting. Glad to have you all here. So there was the good news for the night. Tonight, like I said earlier, we're going to be doing an Awakening Wednesday challenge. So now that you all are here, we are gathered around our virtual campfire, enjoying a little meditation. We're gonna tap in and we're gonna focus in on a company tonight. So in this envelope, I've written down the name of a company, and we're gonna focus in and meditate on this company, and we're going to seek some information, guidance, and wisdom around what this company does, any hints or clues as we become intuitive psychic detectives as to what this company is and what it does. And once we get into meditation, we're just gonna see what arises. I'm gonna let you go on your own journey, and then at the end, I will offer up some wrap-up questions just to maybe push you a little direction, to give you a little guidance on seeking information when we're in meditation and seeing how stuff may arise intuitively. Then once we wrap that up, I'll have you write down, you can write in the chat whatever came to you, and then we'll break down any symbolism and see what connected, see who was tapping in and who was really plugged into tonight's meditation. It is definitely helpful if you can do this in silence or away from any noise or distractions, but if that's not possible, just do your best to focus, and we'll see how it goes. So wherever you are now, get into a nice, comfortable position, if you weren't comfortable already. Put your feet flat on the ground, sitting up nice and tall, or you can lay down if you want. Go ahead and close your eyes. And we're gonna do 3 energy clearing breaths as we just kind of reset ourselves. Want to enter a new state of being energy neutral before we dive into this meditation and focus on the intuitive information that's going to come through tonight. So just focus on your breathing for a second. And once you connect to your breath, we're going to take 3 big deep breaths in, imagining a big beam of white light cascading down through the crown of our head into our body, into our energy field, washing down, rinsing through us, and just rinsing away anything that's heavy, anything that no longer serves us. We're going to feel it rinse off and wash down, like as if we were in like a shower of light. And it washes and rinses down to the feet and into the ground to be absorbed. So here we go. Big deep breath in, filling yourself with light. Exhale, release. Another one, big deep breath in, filling yourself with light. Exhale, release. One more time, big deep breath in. Exhale, release. Just kind of settling into the here and now. And now in your own time, in your own way, I want you to take a moment to set your grounding cord, whether that's through sprouting roots through the soles of your feet, whether we use the technique where we drop an energetic cord from the tip of our spine down to the earth. Go ahead and drop a grounding cord, get connected to the here and now, and also perform whatever energy protection feels right for you. It could be as simple as just surrounding yourself in a bright, luminous light, a bubble of divine light, love, and protection. So go ahead and do that now. And as we surround ourselves with divine light, love, and protection, of loving awareness, divine love, we're going to ask God, our spirit guides, our higher self, to allow us to open up now to any information that is relevant to the mystery company that I have written down here. And we're just going to ask our guides to reveal to us any information that is relevant to the company through an instant knowing, through thoughts, words, images in our mind, feelings. As we set that intention, I'm gonna let you just kind of drift for the next couple minutes as we open up to the possibility in seeking information about this company now. Whenever you're ready, go for it. Now we're just going to ask a couple follow-up questions here. The first thing, ask if you can receive any information related to the geographical location of this company. Where is it based? Take a big deep breath, clear that out. Breathe out. And now ask if there's any information regarding what it is known for. If there's something special that the company is known for, let that be revealed to you. Take a big deep breath in. Exhale. Ask how you would utilize the products or services of this company. What might it feel like? What would you be doing? And see what arises, what you feel. Take a big deep breath in. Release. And finally, go ahead and ask, is there any way that this company serves your highest good? And see what comes up. I'll be really curious. Ask if there's any way that this company serves your highest good. And see if an answer comes. If not, that's okay too. Take another big deep breath in, clear that out. Exhale, release as we kind of set the intention to just close down the session. We're going to take 3 big energy clearing breaths, and we're going to run a cascade of gold and white light through the crown of our head, down through the rest of our body, and just wash anything else that no longer serves us, anything that's kind of sticking around with us. We're going to rinse that out through the grounding cord or the soles of our feet. Here we go, big deep breath in. Exhale, release. Give thanks for this opportunity to connect. Big deep breath in. Exhale, release as we give thanks for this opportunity to exercise our intuitive muscles. And we give thanks for any information that came through. Last one, big deep breath in. Exhale, release, and just give thanks for this opportunity to be here and to be alive and breathing. And whenever you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. All right. Give you a moment to come back out of that little meditation. Go ahead and write down any information that came through to you tonight. Images, thoughts, inspiration, daydreams, feelings, movement that was inspired, anything, whatever it is. Write down all the information that came through. And again, we're not trying to actually guess necessarily what the company is. We're trying to get information about it. We're trying to gather information. We're an intuitive detective here. So write down everything and trust yourself. Every night before I do these lives, I'll ask if there's something specific that my guidance wants me to bring up or discuss. And tonight, what came up was trust and validation. So I want you to write down every little thought, feeling, movement, expression, anything that kind of popped up in tonight's session. Jot it down. Throw it all on paper or throw it all in the chat. Don't worry about being right or wrong, and just be open to the possibility that you're receiving this intuitive information and that there are going to be connections somehow, some way. And this intuitive sense, these intuitive senses are just like muscles. The more we work them, the more we exercise them, the more we flex them, the more they grow, the stronger they get, the easier it is to activate them, the more energy we can move, the more information we can receive as we start to break down and learn the language of intuition. It's a process, a long one, sometimes. I say a long one for me because I feel like the journey started so long ago for me. But then you hear stories like Oksana when she shared, and she said, I had this shaman journey and it blew wide open and all of a sudden all this information was coming. And like, yeah, that's, in a way that kind of happened to me too. But I also began, meditating a long time ago, 20 years ago. So Marissa, stepping out, blue, Hawaii, cylinder shapes, and glass. And I can't remember all of it. So much blue. I saw the color blue, a shape like a DNA helix, an image that to me means earthy stuff, as in not higher dimensional, like very rooted in this earth. Maria also got Hawaii. Interesting. I wonder how many of you were just picking up on each other. We're tapping in, like we're crossing the wires there. So interesting. So let me tell you what it was. And we'll wait for some more things to come in, and maybe some of this stuff will make sense. Again, I want you to interpret these things for how it makes sense to you, because this is about developing your own language with intuition. I can analyze and break down images and find parallels, but at the end of the day, when I reveal what the company is, you can look at what came through for you and you can see if it makes sense to you or if there's symbolism there, something that really speaks to you. So the company that I chose for us to meditate on tonight, and I got outdoors, city like Portland, shoes and socks. And you got farming. So Apple, Apple computers was what I was focusing on. And as I meditated with you guys, I was also trying to send signals, seeing if it works. I don't know if it works or not. I'm trying. Can I consciously send signals? I don't know. Apple computers was the company that we were focusing on. So when I look at some of the stuff that pops up, a city like Portland, to me, has a very similar feel to the Pacific Northwest. I mean, that is the Pacific Northwest. A very similar vibe to like Silicon Valley, right? Angie says was thinking Microsoft. See, that's a totally irrelevant hit there. It's interesting because the cylinder shapes and the glass, Marissa, I find those particularly interesting because of Apple's very sleek design. If I think about their campus and their stores, very, very clean, right? Very, very clean sort of branding that Apple has. So that was something to me, Marissa, that seemed to resonate really, especially because I believe there's an Apple campus thing it's a circle, right? I know it's not a cylinder shape, but that carries a similar element to it. I wonder what the Hawaii thing is. I don't know what that could be, because it's interesting that it came up for a few of you. And blue. I wonder what the blue was. Sorry, I keep sipping this tea. It feels really good. It feels good on my throat, and it's really tasty tea. Marissa says, "Oh yes, cool." Yeah. So some of the things that came to mind for me, like if I was sending downloads, stuff I would have chosen, right? Obviously, you could go with the classic Apple logo, iPads, computers, phones. All that stuff is part of Apple's wheelhouse. I asked, see, my friend Apple is in Hawaii. There you go. That's kind of interesting. Mary's got television company, Los Angeles, company with multi-levels employees. When you asked, does it serve our highest good? I immediately thought no, and then I saw Facebook. Oh, that's it. Well, it's a tech company. And it was interesting. I wanted to ask that question just to see what people would get. Apple has served my highest good in a lot of ways. This live stream comes to you via Apple. I cut all of my videos via Apple. I write all my scripts. I write my book on a MacBook. You know, it's like Apple has definitely helped expand my world creatively. So it has definitely served my highest good in that regard. So Rebecca, that's really interesting. Yeah, your friend Apple is in Hawaii. So it seems like a really weird connection, right? But you can't deny that there's that connection. Literally, Apple is connected to Hawaii for you. That's really cool. Mary, you were definitely tapping into sort of the vibe, I think, of the company as far as it being, you know, there's techie. You said television. Very visual, though. I mean, Apple's a very visual. I own all Apple products. Yeah, me too. Yay, Apple. So yeah, it's interesting that you got television company. There's a very visual, I feel like it's a very visually, not only do everybody that creates television uses Apple stuff to make it in a lot of sense, but it's very visual driven. I wasn't even close, but I did post a beautiful apple on Facebook today. I had shiny, fuzzy Hong Kong envelope, giggling children, music. I saw water or a shore. Well, the thing about Apple is, yes, it's based up in Northern California, near Silicon Valley. I believe it's in Cupertino. But it is connected. Obviously, a lot of the products, or there's pieces that are assembled and made in China. I know Hong Kong isn't technically China, or is it now? I'm a little confused at the moment about how that struggle for democracy in Hong Kong is going. But that's actually interesting. Music is totally part of Apple's thing. When I think of their ads and stuff, they have a lot of really clever visual ads with great music, very catchy, very upbeat. So I don't know. I think there's some stuff there for you, Sherry. I guess I get 1 point for getting that it's not a spiritual company. Well, it is tech. That's stuff that's very much, you know, tech is like engineering and stuff. It's material stuff. Yeah, it's not finance. It's not making tarot cards. It's making physical stuff that people buy. So pretty interesting, everybody. Let me know if you have any questions about the stuff that came through. It's good to see your responses here. Hi, Mary. Other Mary, Lena Stockton, who's hanging out in New York. My good friend. Good to see you on here. Definitely check in with Apple, their vibe, and really kind of lean into the stuff that came through for you and see if there's any crossover there. So as it relates to, sorry, my drum throne that I sit on when I do these is very creaky. Don't mind me as it creaks around. The message or the information that kind of wanted to be discussed tonight was about trust and validation. And I thought this was really fitting for a night when we're doing Awakening Wednesday, because a lot of folks in this group are very intuitive by nature and have great intuition and great insight. And part of that process for us is learning to trust our intuition. Like, one, it's recognizing that we have it, that we're connected, kind of understanding the way the information arises, which hopefully we asked about this. You know, we figured a little bit about it tonight. We talked about it a little bit, how information comes up. So you all kind of wrote down tons of downloads, the things that came to you. So now we look at, well, where was the parallel? Where was the correlation, sort of the resonance between what you got in your downloads and what is actually there, what we were focusing on? And this is how you start to build your dictionary and your lingo, because building our intuition is all about trust and validation. So I highly recommend tonight, you know, to not just do these little exercises with me on Wednesday nights, but if you really are committed to living a more intuitive life and to really tapping into these intuitive senses, we have to learn how to trust them, and that comes through the process of validation. So that means in your own time and in your own way, spending time. You can do something as simple as asking for a sign or asking for validations. You know, you get into your meditation, you can ask your higher self, you can ask God, you can ask your spirit guides, you can say, talk about your intention. Your intention is to work on building trust in that connection, in this connection to your higher self. And you would like some sort of a validation. And pick something like super simple. And I think that's one of the best things to do is in the beginning is to really work with really basic things. Very often in the past, I would ask, if this download that came through today is really speaking to me, allow me to see something kind of off the wall. I want to see a red elephant this week. And you're like, yeah, that's kind of weird, a red elephant. And then sure enough, something comes up. It might be a commercial that pops in, an advertise pops up or something. And you're like, oh my gosh, there's a red elephant. Holy cow, very interesting. And there's other times where that might not happen. So, and I mean that in that we can use asking for signs or asking for symbols or asking for validations, or just taking our downloads. Practice like channeling, writing down some stuff, asking some questions, and then just kind of seeing what happens. Asking to help you understand, ask for some guidance or for some information that might help you in the next week or over the next month. And you don't have to take action on it. You can just kind of see how it plays out. Yeah, my mom says, I never trust what I get. Ooh, there's lots of chat going on. So I'm gonna get to some of this chatter in a second. So I just want to offer up to you the opportunity and remind you that you can totally dive into this a little deeper as you ask for and seek guidance and validation. It's the best way to build trust. The way I came to really trust my intuition as I was doing readings for people is I just was doing readings. And you spit out what's coming up and you say everything that comes to you, and you see what sticks. And sometimes you can be very surprised about what's coming through. And that's why I really recommend doing this for yourself, doing this process for yourself, seeking guidance, seeking wisdom, seeing what comes through, and just seeking validation as you move through the world, seeing what plays out, seeing what comes true, seeing things that maybe you didn't see before because your awareness was drawn to it. All those things play into helping us build trust and validating the information that comes through to us intuitively. We will get the answers and we will get the validation if we're willing to really open up to getting the information and then pursuing the path of validating it. Meaning if I'm open to receiving information and just open to seeing how it plays out, I have 100% confidence that if you consistently stay on that path, you will be given the answers, you'll be given the signs, you'll be given the validation you need, and it's about being open and receptive to it. So you have to believe for yourself, like, yep, this is happening, I can do this. But a lot of times we tend to get in our way. So think about it. Think about some ways in which you can start to meditate in your own time, in your own way, and asking for little bits of guidance. It doesn't have to be big stuff. You don't have to be doing the deep dive into the big shifts happening in your relationship or what's going on collectively or whatever. You can do little things. And just tap in and see what comes through and then see how it plays out. See what resonates, see what doesn't, just like we did tonight. Some of the symbols you got might make sense, some of them might not. Over time, you familiarize yourself with what resonates, what doesn't, what gets validated, what does not, and we start to really fine-tune our intuition, and then it can become a little bit more automatic, and we can start to trust it a whole lot more. So that's tonight's little message. Renee said, I had California, bingo, entertainment, definitely a big thing, music, charity, utility, celebrities, Wall Street, travel. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. Renee, I think you definitely tapped into it. Apple is, a friend was just telling me today, it's like going to be a $2 trillion company. Huge, massive. It's based in California, very much tied to the entertainment industry and music. They do tons of philanthropy and charity work, so that's huge. When you asked if it does good, I saw yin and yang, so I interpret that as good and bad. Looks good, but has it a hidden bad side? That's very interesting. Yeah, I feel like for me, the images I got were me tapping in, and if I had just gone a little longer, perhaps I would have gotten more. It takes a lot longer for me. Yeah, I know, I rushed it. I mean, I don't rush it, but I do condense the time, so that's another thing too. Spend your time. I kind of take you through it in a pretty quick way. If you know, like Rebecca, you need more time, a lot of us in the beginning, it really is helpful to sit in quiet space for a long time to really allow things to emerge and to kind of trust what's emerging too. Because sometimes things will come up for us and we can kind of like push it aside, and if it comes back, maybe that's a bit of a sign for us to, okay, I think that information might be important. But if you push it aside and it goes away completely, never comes back, then yeah, maybe it wasn't related. Maybe that was just stuff going on in your mind. Sherry says, I used to do that with my kids on long car trips. Pick something random. We believe we will see it somewhere on our trip. I love the idea. Yeah, it's really fun. Trust and validate. We all have this intuitive capability. We're all capable of tapping in. We all are connected in that way. And so it is taking times like this where we get quiet and we just open up and we just play with it. We experiment. We explore. And that's how we begin to learn the language of our intuition. And I really do encourage you to set the intention to connect in a way so that there can be trust building and validation built into the process, you know? So let your higher self know, let yourself know, let God, let spirit guides know, hey, I really want to work on trusting my instincts, trusting intuition, trusting your wisdom, and ask for guidance on how you can even move through that process. One of my favorite stories is when I really started to get into this 100% and fully dive in, I would sometimes be like, oh, I need to go do some research on this, or I need to research that, or I want to ask this person these things related to very specifically like intuition and working with your intuition. And one night, my guides were like, just ask us. You don't have to ask someone else how to work with us because we're working with you. And I thought that was really funny. I'm like, okay, cool, got it. Message received. Especially when it comes to our spirituality, when it comes to our intuitive senses. You know, it's our job to become our sort of our moral authority on that, you know, our spiritual authority, working very closely with ourselves and our highest self and God and our spirit guides that help us on that journey. That's the team, that's the crew. Not to say we're not going to have earthly guides and we're not going to have mentors, we're not going to have books and people and workshops that help push us along the way. But at the end of the day, what it always comes back to is that connection, you and that direct connection to source and to God and to loving awareness. You can always lean into that, and the answers will be revealed if you knock. If you knock, the door will be opened. So it has been said by somebody really famous. I don't know who that was. All right, everybody. That's about it for tonight. So I think we're going to wrap it up. We're at about 37 minutes here. So thank you so much for joining tonight's intuitive challenge. Really nice to see so much engagement. A lot of really good stuff came through. Again, just check in with yourself after we sign off here and look at where the parallels were, where did you connect, and brainstorm some ideas on how you can work on trust building and strengthening that connection to your intuition and learning how to validate little bits of information that can help you take bigger steps into more sort of consequential, more purposeful, thoughtful, conscientious sort of guidance and wisdom seeking. Because that's the ultimate goal, to be able to tap in and receive those downloads direct from loving awareness, and then be and live and breathe those ideals and that guidance and that wisdom out in motion in the world, which is a really cool thing to realize. All right, everybody, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here tonight. I look forward to joining tomorrow. Tomorrow night, we're doing Thursday night. We're doing the live readings. So I'm always excited to do those and share that with you. So please tell your friends, family to jump on, sign on. Let's watch live. The more, the merrier, and we'll see who gets some messages. I look forward to working with you tomorrow night. Yep, be your own guide. That is right, Angie, absolutely. Be your own guru. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.